This court is now in session, in the matter of Boris versus the people. You all may be seated.
May we begin with the opening statement?
Yes, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen, this criminal trial is in the matter of whether or not Boris John Anderson is guilty. We have evidence of him bribing a public official. We have evidence of him assaulting 2 citizens with witness testimonies, and video evidence of him abusing his children. I believe every piece of evidence my client has gathered can prove to you, the jury, that this man is guilty and should be put away behind bars. As the trial goes on, I wish to show everyone in this court every second of the horrific videos my client obtained of Boris, showing what kind of person he really is. That is all, Your Honor.
Mr. Richardson, your opening statement.
Ahem, ladies and gentlemen of the court, I reviewed the evidence and honestly, should we believe that the evidence is real, any person could easily create a recording of my client's supposed actions. The program GoAnimate is what gave us life and it exists in this world. So what are the chances Ms. Russell simply faked these recordings and passed them off as real? And what about the GoAnimate logic that exists in our universe? Perhaps the documents of Boris bribing Judge Joseph George were forged as well. What are the chances Ms. Russell is truly the abusive one here and is the one who paid off Judge Joseph George to testify against Mr. Anderson? I say the chances are high, and I will prove that Ms. Russell and Mr. Darkus simply faked all this evidence to incriminate my client. That's all, Your Honor.
Let's continue on then, shall we? Mr. Darkus, do you wish to present your evidence?
Before I present my evidence, may we hear the witness testimonies? I believe hearing the witnesses' statements before presenting the evidence will have a bigger impact on the case, Your Honor.
If that is so, you may proceed.
I call Judge Joseph George to the stand. Joseph, my client has video evidence and email evidence of you taking a bribe from Mr. Anderson to take his side in the civil court case of child custody. Not to mention when I approached you, you immediately gave me a confession, which I have. This is a printed email of his confession of which I want the jury to look at. May you explain to the court what you confessed to me?
Well, before the court case began, Mr. Anderson offered me 20 grand to take his side in the case. I had gotten testimonies from both Caillou and Rosie about how they wanted to stay with their father. From what it sounded like, Ms. Russell was the offender, but I understand that that's no longer true.
But Mr. George, even if the latter was true, why would you take a bribe? Do you know the consequences of taking a bribe? Up to 4 years of prison time.
I needed that money. I needed to pay off my student loans.
So you willingly put 2 kids in danger, so you could pay off your loans, even if you didn't know the danger they were in. You still took a bribe?
I have nothing else to say. I admit it. I took the bribe. I'm guilty.
I have no other questions. You're dismissed. May I call another witness?
Proceed.
I call Gerlach Ragnar to the stand. Mr. Ragnar, you gave me a testimony in private of what you witnessed between Boris, and the kids. May you explain what you saw?
Of course, these small kids came to my motel room asking for a woman who I found out was their mom. They were talking about how they found their long-lost brother and that the young girl turned out to be an adopted, or more or less, a bastard child, pardon my French. I even heard Boris Anderson say he was going to beat the crap out of the kids, and if you don't believe my words, the recording Ms. Russell has will prove my words.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Despite his threats, he allowed these children as young as 2 years old to leave the house. For having 3 kids, I'd expect him to at least take better care of them or at least hire a babysitter. Not only is he abusive, he's neglectful.
Thank you, Mr. Ragnar. You're dismissed. May I call another witness, Your Honor?
Proceed.
I call Caillou and Rosie to the stand. Is that acceptable, Your Honor?
I believe that is okay.
Now, children, you are in a safe place. You may speak the truth without fearing the consequences. If you cannot speak, you don't have to. May you tell the court, the jury, every one of what you witnessed. You don't have to fear him anymore, kids. I promise that after this, he will not attempt to hurt you ever again.
It was awful. I remember it like it was yesterday. My father began yelling at me for simply reading while relaxing on the couch. He grounded me for all of eternity and sent me to my room. I heard him and Mommy arguing about what he did. He hit her and kicked her out. Right after that, he demanded we say we wanted to stay with him. When I tried saying I didn't want to, he beat me to near death.
It's true, I was there to witness it. I begged him to stop but he didn't. After he was done, he threatened to do the same to me if I didn't comply.
Children, if this is too much for you, we can stop.
No, it's fine. He soon married my teacher Ms. Martin almost immediately after Mommy left. While she didn't hurt us as much as Daddy did, she stood by and did nothing. When we went to their wedding, we left to go back to the house to gather our supplies and plans to escape back to Mommy. Before we could start our plan, he came home and gave us severe punishments.
May you explain the punishments he gave you?
He put hot sauce in our mouth and eyes, and when I begged for milk, he only told me I should have known the consequences when I left the wedding. Then he beat us with the cat of nine tails. Then after that, he and Ms. Martin threw us in our rooms.
I understand, and if I am correct, our previous witness Gerlach said Mr. Anderson was going to beat the crap out of you. Is that correct?
He was sort of correct. He took us home to give us a horrific punishment day.
May you tell the court what those were? It's okay if you don't want to tell us kids. The videos we have will show the court exactly what you went through. Is there anything else you would like to tell us? I understand. No more further questions. The kids will be held in a foster care system until the trial is completed. Please follow this young lady. She will take you all home. What I'm about to show the court is what you three went through, and I do not want any of you to relive it.
Come along, children.
Your Honor, before I proceed to show you, the jury, and the court the videos Ms. Russell provided for me, I want to call Mr. Anderson to the stand.
Proceed.
Mr. Anderson, we have multiple witnesses, multiple victims, multiple accusations, so much against you and nothing to prove your innocence. What do you have to say to all of this?
So, is parenting my kids a crime now?
Mr. Anderson, your way of parenting is, a lack for a better word, inhumane.
Inhumane? What are you going on about?
I've never met a single person in my 35 years of life who would do such horrid things to their children. I mean, soap in the mouth or a belt beating is one thing, but hot sauce in their eyes, and a literal whipping torture device. Mr. Anderson, do you enjoy hurting No, do you enjoy hurting children in general?
I just don't like children. Children are terrorists who do not deserve loving homes. If you act soft with children, their formidable and evil powers will overpower you to the point they'll start grounding you.
Mr. Anderson, that is absurd. I never met anyone who believes in such a thing.
Well, that's how I parent my children. Are we just ignoring the fact some people have their own ways on how to parent their kids? You all are just wasting my time with this stupid trial. Are you happy that you're getting your 15 minutes of
Mr. Anderson, this is not a joke. We have hours and hours of video recorded evidence of your crimes. Not to mention we have testimonies from several people who were a witness in your crimes. There is so much damning evidence to prove you are guilty, but you're treating it all like a joke. I'm starting to believe you feel no remorse for your actions.
Because I don't. What is there to be remorseful about? I was simply doing what a parent should do. I don't believe I am guilty, and that's that.
No more further questions, Your Honor.
Does the defendant have anything to say against these accusations?
No.
May the defendant's attorney present any evidence he may have?
I don't have any evidence, unfortunately, Your Honor. May I call a witness?
Proceed.
I call Ms. Russell to the stand. Ms. Russell, you claim your ex-husband is an abusive person, not only to you but to your kids and even his current wife?
Ex-wife.
Mr. Anderson, please remain silent.
Ahem, you claim these recordings and these documents prove Mr. Anderson's supposed guilt. But why should this court believe these are real video recordings and simply not videos that you created? Or perhaps you conspired with Mr. Darkus to create these recordings? I believe that you are purposely trying to frame your ex-husband to be this evil monster when you're truly the brain behind this operation. Do you have any comments?
Sir, I can promise you that the evidence I provided is real. These are real recordings taken at what was originally my home. I have receipts of these security cameras and even pictures that were taken by the officers of the locations of the cameras. My lawyer has the documents if you wish to see them, Your Honor.
I see, Miss Russell, who took these pictures.
Officer Mark Davis.
Mr. Davis, is this true?
Yes, Your Honor, we served a warrant upon Mr. Anderson when we came to arrest him. We took pictures of every room and every security camera.
Did you review the security tapes to confirm that they are legitimate, and did you validate that the security cameras line up with the tapes?
Yes, Your Honor, we believe full-heartedly that these security tapes are legitimate and they have not been tampered with. No further questions, Your Honor.
Say something.
What am I supposed to say? You've basically admitted you've harmed the kids but claimed it was simply your way of parenting. Not to mention there's so much evidence against you that nothing I say will get you out of this.
What if I plead insanity?
You can't plead insanity when it comes to stuff like this.
Do something. I didn't hire you to just fuck me over.
If the defendant and his attorney have nothing else to say, I think it's a perfect time to show the court the tapes my client has obtained.
No, I don't consent to this. These videos were taken without my consent.
Mr. Anderson, we do not require your consent to view these tapes, as these are now seized evidence. Go ahead and play them, Mr. Darkus.
Gladly.
For leaving our wedding, you're both grounded for 10 years, and now it's punishment day. First punishment, we will pour Carolina Reaper sauce into your eyes and mouth.
Ow, 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 ow.
Dad, I need milk, this burns so much.
You should have thought about the consequences before you left the wedding. Second punishment, we will beat you both with the cat of 9 tails. Caillou, Delu, and Rosie, how dare you go through my room and leave to find your slutty mother? That is it. It's time for another punishment day.
No, not another punishment day. Please, Dad, anything but that.
Well, you should have known that the consequences of your actions will always result in a punishment day. First punishment, I will beat you all with the spiked bat.
Need I continue, Your Honor?
No, I believe we've seen enough. Would you like to begin with the closing statement?
Your Honor, the jury, this courtroom, I've never met such a horrid, violent, and abusive man like I have when I first learned about Boris Anderson. I served in the United States Marines for 9 years and I've seen so many horrific things, but nothing compared to what Mr. Anderson has done. When Mr. Anderson claims he was simply disciplining his kids, I knew that was a lie. I went through discipline myself when I served this country. I believe discipline is something every child needs in order to better prepare themselves for the real world. But this right here, is nowhere near discipline. I truly hope that you all will understand that Mr. Anderson needs to be held responsible for these actions. Have these innocent kids taken away and given to their mother, where it's safe. You've heard testimonies from not only the plaintiff, but from the witnesses, and even from the victims themselves. And if that didn't convince you, I sure hope these tapes have nothing more, Your Honor.
Does the defendant have a closing statement?
No, Your Honor.
But I do. I want to give a final speech to my ex-wife and I hope she passes this on to the kids. All of this shit is fake. All children are spoiled rotten little brats and I hate every last one of them. My parenting methods are perfectly fine and you're all just little fragile bitches who can't handle seeing proper parenting discipline like you saw on those tapes. Caillou is the worst child I've ever met and he's a waste of my sperm cells. He doesn't have the right to be considering my son since my true son would take those beatings without crying, and God, hearing him cry makes me want to strangle him until the light fades from his eyes. That's all I have to say. My parenting skills are fine and I am not guilty.
I believe we've heard enough out of you, Mr. Anderson. The jury is dismissed to discuss what they've seen during this court session. We will remain here until they reach a verdict. Will the defendant rise and face the jury? Has the jury reached a verdict?
Yes, Your Honor. We, the jury, in the matter of Anderson versus the people, unanimously find the defendant guilty on all charges.
As you should. Mr. Anderson, I could easily serve you the death penalty right here, right now, but death will only serve as the easy way out for you. I believe you deserve much, much worse. Mr. Anderson, I'm sentencing you to 10 life sentences in prison without the possibility of ever receiving parole. This case is dismissed.
I demand a second chance. This is all bullshit. You all are out to get me. Mark my words, Doris. You better hope to our creator that I don't get out. They can't lock me away forever. And when I get out, I'll be sure to kill all of your asses. This isn't the last you've seen of me. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa.
It's over. It's all over.
Come now, let's get you home.
What about my kids?
I have a CPS officer coming to your house tomorrow to make sure the kids will be safe with you. For now, you need your rest.
Mr. Dargis?
Ms. Russell, I believe these kids are yours.
Oh my God. Oh my babies, we're together again.
Did you steal?
Rosie, blood or not, you're my child and you always will be. Mr. Dargis, thank you for bringing us back together.
Of course, ma'am. If anything comes up, you can always give me a call. You all have a good day.
I have a surprise for all of you.
What would that be? Gilbert, you got Gilbert back. Thank you, Mommy.
Of course, honey. I'm glad we're back together again.
So, what did you think?
I must say, it's a very well-made video. For someone of your age to make something like that is amazing, but, do you see me like that?
Of course not. I just figured you were the best candidate to have as a villain.
Well, alright, because honestly, that particular Boris was such a wimp. Like his punishments weren't nothing compared to what I do. It was almost like you made him into a more tamed version of me. Anyways, I hope you don't plan on making 24 other versions of yourself for when you make the next part.
Of course not. It'll just be me and Delu. I might put by you in there, but I'll have to think about it.
About that, are you telling me you want another brother?
Hell no. I love Rosie to death, but I don't think I could handle the possibility of a second version of her.
Good, because I don't want a third child anyways. Well, let's go make dinner.
Okay, Dad.